army kills more than 200 terrorists and destroys their vehicles in Idleb and its countryside. Malaysian police detained 17 suspects who are preparing for terrorist attacks in the capital Kuala Lumpur. 2 of them have recently came back from Syria. A meeting between Minister of Education and representative of World Food Programme to discuss providing food at schools. Good afternoon. Syrian Arab army units continued pounding terrorist groups, inflicting heavy casualties among them. A military source said that Syrian Arab army killed more than 200 terrorists and destroyed an armored vehicle and more than 15 of their machine gun-equipped vehicles in Idlib. Syrian Arab army units also destroyed many vehicles of the terrorists in the Naba al-Sakhr roundabout in Al-Qunaytira. Meanwhile, several gatherings of the terrorists were targeted by the Syrian Arab army in Dar'a's countryside, killing many terrorists and injuring others. Over the past 2 days, about 2,000 people left Al Yarmouk camp, and they are now staying in shelters prepared by the Syrian government. They are equipped with all necessary requirements in the neighborhoods of Al Tadamun and Al Zahira. A number of people pointed out that they left Al Yarmouk camp through the help of the Syrian Arab army and the Palestinian People's Committees after ISIS and Al-Nusra terrorists attacked their houses and committed crimes against residents. In Iraq, huge number of ISIS terrorists were killed and injured during an armed clash with the security forces west of Al-Anbar. A security source said that a force belonging to border police confronted an attack by a suicidal who was driving a car bomb near the Iraqi-Saudi borders west of Al-Anbar. The source added that a terrorist gang attacked the same force after foiling the previous suicidal attack, which caused the killing of many ISIS terrorists, whereas the southern areas witnessed wide military operations for freeing Al-Kermeh district amid continuous military preparations for cleansing the whole area. On the other hand, 16 security men were killed and injured during an attack made by ISIS terrorists in Biji district north of Tikrit. The Malaysian police detained 17 suspects who are preparing for terrorist attacks in the capital, Kuala Lumpur. 2 of them have recently came back from Syria. The detention operations came after several weeks of issuing a new law in Malaysia for fighting any possible terrorist dangers, like ISIS supporters, as the new law allows putting in prison suspects without trails for a period that might reach 2 years. The Malaysian authorities expressed concerns for several times from the danger represented by ISIS, which recruits members, especially in the west-eastern part of Asia, to join their ranks in Syria and Iraq. The Malaysian authorities suspended in January 120 persons who are making contracts with ISIS, as 67 of them have left to Syria and Iraq to join ISIS ranks, and 5 of them have been killed. The second round of the Syrian consultative meeting had kicked off today in Moscow with the participation of the delegation of the Syrian Arab Republic headed by Dr. Bashar al-Jafari and representative of the opposition, aiming to reaching a political solution for the crisis in Syria. The opposition is due to hold its meetings on Monday and Tuesday, to be followed by a meeting between the delegation of the Syrian Arab Republic and the opposition on Wednesday, and be concluded by a final session on Thursday. Well-informed sources have indicated that focus will be laid on the necessity of exerting efforts by all Syrians to combat terrorism and boost national reconciliation in a way to create an environment that would eventually lead to serious talks, away from any foreign interference. Russian Foreign Ministry has pointed out that these meetings reflect the steady policy adopted by the Russian Federation, which asserts that there is no alternative for settling the crisis in Syria but through political and diplomatic means. U.S. President Barack Obama has said that the grievous danger threatening the Gulf states is not a possible attack by Iran. Rather, the anger and discontent in their own countries by their citizens, especially the young men and the jobless people who think that there is no political solution for their problems and the injustice inflicted on them. In an interview with the New York Times newspaper conducted by Thomas Friedman, Obama added that he would be discussing with the leaders of the Gulf states during the meeting which will be held in Camp David Resort this spring how to build more efficient defense capabilities and to assure them that the U.S. would continue supporting them, adding that this would ease their worries regarding the nuclear agreement with Iran and allow them to hold fruitful dialogue with the Iranians. Turkish security forces have detained 34 army officers on the background of the case of suspending trucks owned by the Turkish intelligence that were smuggling arms to the terrorists in Syria last January. Turkish media outlets have indicated that detention campaign was launched upon a decision taken by the public prosecution in Istanbul, dominated over by Justice and Development Party. Following his discharge, Turkish General Attorney Aziz Takji has said that Adana governor did assure that those trucks were owned by the Turkish intelligence and that Erdogan himself called him back then, asking him to release these trucks to continue their way to Syria. Welcome back. Christians have celebrated this year's Easter by holding masses and prayers only due to the circumstances Syria is going through and in a sign of respect to the souls of the martyrs who have sacrificed themselves in defending the homeland. Patriarchs, bishops, and men of religion have asserted in speeches they delivered on the occasion that the Syrian Christians stand as one despite all the hardships, and that they would not give up hope to see a better future in their fathers' and forefathers' homeland. They further added that Christ's resurrection is the essence and significance of Christianity as it means true life. They prayed to the Almighty God to preserve Syria, its leader, His Excellency President Bashar al-Assad, and the courageous Syrian Arab army, and to heal the wounds of the brave Syrian soldiers, calling upon the West to halt any financial or military support to the terrorists. Minister of Education Dr. Hazwan Al-Wiz has discussed with Representative and Regional Director of World Food Program, Mr. Matthew Hollingroth, the developments and issues related to implementing the project of scholastic feeding and means of expanding it. Focus was laid on the optimal means to improve the health conditions of the students at the preliminary educational level, which would be positively reflected on the students' educational level and their activity during classes.
Today we've just completed a meeting to talk about our joint programs supporting children throughout Syria to provide them with a nutritious snack to help them work in schools, to help them go back to schools, to give their parents the knowledge that when they send their children to school, they will have something to eat so they can study well.
With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news, but after a short break.